There's nothing more confusing than the silence after someone leaves, and then the sound of their footsteps came back. You gave your all, your attention, your time, your heart. She walked away. Maybe she said it wasn't the right time. Maybe she needed to find herself. Or maybe she didn't even give you a reason. She just vanished, leaving you with 1,000 questions and an aching silence. And just when you started to breathe again, there she is, a message, a like on your story, a soft "Hey, how have you been?" Now your heart is at war. One part of you is still angry. The other, it still remembers what her laughter felt like at 2 a.m. You want to believe this is it. That she finally realized what she lost. That she finally sees your worth. But here's the truth that most men ignore in this moment. The fact that she came back does not mean she's ready. And it doesn't mean you should open the door just because she knocked. If you don't understand the psychology of her return, you'll fall into the same cycle that left you broken the first time. Because sometimes she doesn't come back because she misses you. She comes back because she misses how you made her feel. And if you're not grounded in who you are, you'll confuse her curiosity for commitment. This moment isn't about her, it's about who you've become since she left. Because now, how you respond will either reclaim your power or repeat your past. When she returns, your first instinct will be to rush toward her. Don't. This is the critical moment to pause, breathe, and respond instead of react. Emotional men chase closure, grounded men create it. Your silence will say more than your words ever could. Let me tell you something that most men don't understand. Until it's too late, your first reaction when she comes back is the most dangerous part of this entire process. You've waited weeks, maybe months. You've gone through the storm, sleepless nights, the "what did I do wrong" phase, the late night overthinking. You've imagined her with someone else. You've cried in silence. And now, out of nowhere, she's back. A message, a voice note, a casual "How have you been?" As if the silence wasn't deafening. As if your heart wasn't breaking while she was out rediscovering herself. And suddenly, your heart wants to jump. Your fingers itch to type back. You want to send paragraphs, spill emotions, ask questions, and fix everything all at once. But don't. This is the moment that defines whether you remain a boy who reacts or a man who responds. Because emotional control is your greatest power. Not silence out of ego, but silence out of clarity. Pause, not to punish her, but to protect your own heart from rushing back into a fire that might still be burning. You see, a woman will test you in the moment she returns. Not consciously, not always intentionally, but her subconscious is watching. Has he moved on? Is he desperate to have me back? Will he drop everything and take me without question? And how you respond tells her everything about who you are now. Most men lose the game the moment they think they've won it. They believe her return is the victory. But brother, her coming back isn't the reward. It's the test. You were broken. You were healing. You were rebuilding. And now you're at a fork in the road. One road leads to your old self, emotional, attached, reactive. The other leads to a stronger, wiser, more grounded version of you. The version who knows. I don't need to chase love. I attract it through who I've become. So take a breath. Do not rush to respond. Let your stillness be your message. Let her wonder where your eagerness went. Let her feel the change in your energy, not through a quote or a caption, but through the pause that says, "I've grown." I'm not the same man you walked away from, because women notice energy more than words. And the moment your energy shifts from desperation to discernment, from neediness to neutrality, she feels it. And that's when the power returns to you. This isn't about games. This is about emotional maturity. You're not punishing her. You're protecting yourself, because if you react in emotion, you'll repeat the cycle. But if you pause in clarity, you break it. And maybe she deserves a second chance. Or maybe she's here to test if she still has emotional power over you. You won't know until you breathe, until you observe, until you see her actions, not just her words. Let her prove with consistency what her silence once destroyed. A powerful man is not the one who controls others. He's the one who controls himself when everything in him wants to react. So when she comes back, don't rush. Don't fall into the fantasy. Don't drown in the relief. Pause, reflect, rise. Because in that moment, when you choose stillness over reaction, and you step into your true power, and she'll feel that. And whether you take her back or let her go, you'll do it not as the broken boy who begged for love, but as the man who finally learned how to love himself first. Her return might feel romantic, but behind it could be fear, regret, boredom, or insecurity. If you don't examine her intentions, you'll project your hopes onto her actions. This chapter will help you decode what's real and what's emotional bait. When a woman walks away from you and then returns, the first thing you want to believe is that she missed you, that she woke up one morning, her heart aching, her mind filled with memories of your smile, your touch, your presence, and that she came back because she realized no one could replace you. But that's the romantic version your heart wants to hear. Here's the reality. She might be back, but not for the reason you think. Maybe she's lonely. Maybe what she chased didn't fulfill her. Maybe the attention she craved from the world didn't last as long as she thought it would. Or maybe, just maybe, she realized she could lose you, and that shook her. But don't confuse that fear with love, because sometimes people don't return out of love. They return out of discomfort with the consequences of their own decisions. Let that sink in. There's a difference between "I miss you" and "I miss the version of me I was when I had your love and comfort," because you were her safe place, her soft landing, her emotional validation. You made her feel wanted, admired, and adored. And when she stepped away, maybe she thought that was replaceable. Maybe she thought she'd find better. But life has a way of humbling us all. She didn't come back because she suddenly became someone new. People don't change overnight. She came back because something changed in her experience, not necessarily her heart. And the dangerous trap here is this: you make her return about your worth. You think, she came back because I'm good enough now. I proved something. But no, King, you were always enough. She just couldn't see it back then. And what she sees now might not even be you. It might be the absence of something she didn't value when she had it. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Her return may have nothing to do with real love and everything to do with the emotional void she's trying to fill. And that's why you need to observe, not just respond. Ask yourself, is she taking accountability? Is she showing consistency? Is she respecting your space, your growth, your healing? Or is she just saying the right things because she's afraid of being alone? There's a difference between someone coming back to love you and someone is coming back because their other options failed them. And if you don't ask that question, you'll hand your heart back to someone who's not even sure how to hold it. She might miss the idea of you, the comfort, the version of herself she had when she was with you. But is she ready for who you are now? Because you've changed. You've grown through the pain. You've learned emotional discipline. You've taken steps forward. So don't let her pull you back into a cycle she's not ready to break. This is not about revenge. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about protecting your peace and not confusing her return with her readiness. A woman's return is not your redemption story. It's a chapter that requires wisdom, because how you handle it determines whether you walk back into emotional chaos or step into a relationship that's built on truth this time. So when she says, "I miss you," don't just listen to her words. Watch her actions. Pay attention to the energy behind them. Ask yourself, is she here for me or for how I made her feel about herself? Because if she's here for validation, not partnership, you'll be giving yourself away to someone who's not staying. Remember this, King: love that leaves without explanation and returns without transformation is not love. It's comfort seeking. It's emotional convenience. It's the fear of being alone wrapped in sweet words. And you've grown past that, so don't romanticize her return. Analyze it, not to punish her, but to protect the man you've become. You deserve real love, not recycled attention. Let her earn her place again, not just in your heart, but in your peace. The biggest test is not her return, it's who you are when she returns. Have you grown? Have you healed? Or are you still emotionally bleeding from her absence? If you haven't done the work, you'll bleed all over the same wound. Let's be brutally honest. When someone leaves you and then comes back, there's a quiet war that happens inside of you. Your heart wants to fall back into the familiar rhythm, the shared memories, the laughter, the warmth, the moments when her head rested on your shoulder and the world felt complete. But your soul remembers the silence after she walked away. And in that silence, you had to rebuild yourself. That's why, if you're not careful, you'll lose yourself all over again the moment she returns. This is the moment where emotional power matters most. Not enough power to dominate her, but the power to lead yourself. Because here's the truth no one tells you. If you don't set the tone, you will inherit hers. You will get pulled back into the patterns that broke you the first time. The over-explaining, walking on eggshells, the quiet fears of not being enough, the performance you put on to keep her happy, even when it made you miserable. But you're not that man anymore. You've healed too much to go back to who you were. So how do you reclaim your emotional power? First, you stop chasing clarity from someone who has already shown you confusion. You don't owe her your immediate trust. That's not bitterness, that's boundaries. That's emotional maturity. That's choosing self-respect over blind hope. You say, if you're back, it's not going to be on your terms. It's going to be on truth. And truth doesn't fear accountability. If she's serious about returning, she'll welcome your questions. She'll honor your hesitation. She won't guilt you for being cautious. She'll understand it's the price of losing access to someone good. Next, you hold the frame. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being clear. You're not going to shrink to keep the peace. You're not going to pretend everything is okay just because she came back with sweet words and a soft gaze. You're going to speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. You're going to say, if we're doing this again, we do it differently. We communicate better. We take responsibility. We show up consistently, not when it's convenient, but when it counts. And if she's not ready for that, you don't beg, you bless her and let her go. Because emotional power isn't loud. It doesn't beg, it doesn't chase. It stands still and says, this is who I am now. If you want to come in, meet me here. And finally, you remind yourself of the truth you discovered in her absence. You are worthy, you are whole, you are not a backup plan, a safe option, or an emotional crutch. You are a man who has learned the hard way that loving someone without boundaries leads to self-betrayal. And now you choose differently. So when she returns full of apologies, don't just listen. Lead. Ask the hard questions, clarify intentions, set the standard, because if she truly values you, she'll rise to meet you. If not, she'll fall away again, and this time you won't fall with her. That's emotional power. It's not about who stays or who leaves. It's about you finally refusing to abandon yourself just to feel loved. You're not who you were when she left. And if she's not ready to meet the version of you that rose from the pain, she has no place in your future. Stand tall. Lead with truth. Set the tone. Or you will lose yourself again in the same fire you already survived once. And you didn't come this far to go backwards. Let me tell you something that most people don't want to hear when love walks back into their life. Just because she's back doesn't mean you should sprint back into her arms. I know how tempting it is. You missed her, you prayed for her return, you told your friends, if I could just have one more chance, I'd do everything right. And now, here she is, texting again, laughing at your messages, saying things like, I've been thinking about us, but let's pause right here, because this is where most men fall again. The rush to reconnect is what ruins the chance to rebuild. See, your heart is a beautiful thing. It's full of grace. It forgives easily. But if you don't balance that grace with wisdom, you'll find yourself repeating the same story, with more pain the second time around. When she comes back, it doesn't mean she's ready. It doesn't even mean she's changed. Sometimes it just means she got lonely or curious or nostalgic. And if you move too fast, if you open the door without questions, without boundaries, without real conversations, you're not reconnecting, you're relapsing. You're rushing into a house that still has cracks in the foundation. Let's break this down. The slow reconnection means asking yourself, what are we rebuilding and why? What hurt last time? What patterns caused the breakdown? Was it a lack of communication, insecurity, disrespect, silence? And what makes you believe it will be different now? If you don't ask these questions, love becomes a fantasy, not a future. Slow down. Not because you're playing games, not because you're punishing her, but because real healing takes time, because trust isn't restored through feelings, it's rebuilt through actions over time. Let her prove it. Let her show up, not just with words, but with effort. Let her demonstrate that she understands why it ended and what it takes to begin again. Not perfectly, but consistently. And during that process, you stay centered, you stay grounded, you stay. You don't lose yourself in the thrill of being wanted again. You don't trade your peace for temporary affection. You don't skip over the pain just because the attention feels good now. Here's the truth: if you rush, you'll ignore the red flags. You'll silence your intuition. You'll overlook the emotional gaps you were healing. And before you know it, you'll be right back where you started, confused, drained, and broken. So take your time. Sit with the awkward silences. Have the uncomfortable conversations. Observe her patterns, not just her promises, and most importantly, watch yourself. How do you feel around her now? Are you anxious again? Walking on eggshells? Reverting to old behaviors? Because if loving her requires shrinking yourself, hiding your truth, or betraying your growth, then it's not love, it's regression. You didn't heal all this time just to return to the same version of yourself that tolerated less than you deserved. You don't have to rush. You don't have to decide today. And you don't have to pretend like the past didn't happen. Let her earn her way back in. Let the relationship evolve slowly, authentically. Let it unfold in reality, not fantasy. Because if it's real this time, it will survive the slow burn. And if it's not, you'll know before you burn again. Take your time, King. You deserve love that's not just returned, but rebuilt. When she comes back, she's watching to see who you are now. Are you still the same emotionally reactive man, or have you become the high-value man who no longer needs her validation? Boundaries will test her respect. Your presence will redefine the relationship. When someone you once loved comes back into your life, it can feel like a miracle, a second chance, a story rewriting itself with a better ending. And maybe it is, but pause for a moment. Because before you let her back in, Before you give your heart the green light to open again, there's one question you need to ask with ruthless honesty. Is she back for you or for her comfort? It's a hard question, one that many avoid because they don't want to face what the answer might be. But this question can save you from repeating the heartbreak that nearly crushed you the first time. When a woman leaves and then returns, something happened. Maybe she realized what she lost. Maybe she missed your presence. Maybe she grew. Maybe she matured. But sometimes she didn't come back because she truly sees your worth. She came back because the world out there was colder than she thought. Because the attention faded. Because the new guy didn't understand her like you did. Because life didn't turn out the way she expected. And now she remembers your warmth, your loyalty, your softness. And she misses the feeling, not necessarily the man. There's a difference. She might not miss you. She might miss the version of herself she was when she was with you. She might miss the safety, the admiration, the way you loved her when she didn't even love herself. But now the ball is in your court. You don't owe her access just because she came back. You owe yourself clarity, and that comes through observation. So don't ask what she says. Watch what she does. Does she come back asking about you? How you've grown, how you've changed, how you're feeling? Or does she only talk about herself? What she went through, how much she suffered, how confused she was. Is she taking responsibility for her part in the breakup? Or is she deflecting, making excuses, blaming timing or blaming life? Is she patient with your hesitance? Or does she try to rush things back to the way they were? Because someone who truly values you will respect the process of rebuilding. They'll understand that trust takes time, that love isn't just about feeling something. It's about showing up again and again, especially when it's not easy. Don't ignore these things. Because comfort is seductive. The comfort of old jokes, of memories, of late night texts that say, I miss us. But don't confuse comfort with compatibility. Sometimes the heart wants the familiar more than it wants what's right. So ask yourself, does she make you feel seen or just used? Does she want to know you now, the man you've become? Or does she just want to relive a past where you gave everything and asked for nothing? Be careful. Because you are no longer the man who begs to be chosen. You are not the same person who would rather have half of her than be whole alone. You've grown, you've healed, you've learned that peace is priceless. That love without clarity is a trap, and that letting someone back into your life isn't about romance, it's about alignment. Is she aligned with your growth now? Does she respect the boundaries you've built? Is she here to support your purpose, or just soften her loneliness? Because if she's back just to feel good again, but not to grow with you, not to build with you, not to love you in the way you finally learned to love yourself, then you already know your answer. You are not her rescue plan. You are not her emotional safety net. You are a man who deserves intentional love, reciprocal energy, emotional depth, and a woman who comes back, not out of need, but out of awareness and growth. Test her intentions, not through words, through time, through presence, through patience. Because if she's back for YOU, she'll stay. If she's not, you'll see it soon enough. And when you do, walk away with your head high, knowing you didn't fall for comfort again. You stood for love that was real. Don't confuse emotional longing with healthy love. This chapter helps you take your power back by evaluating, is this a real second chance or just a temporary emotional loop? You'll learn to choose from strength, not fear. Let's get one thing very clear. If she walked away once and has now returned, the game doesn't resume where it left off. The terms have changed, and this time you set them. This isn't about being cold. This isn't about revenge. This is about respecting the man you've become, the man who had to rebuild himself from pieces she left behind. You see, when she left, she made a decision. And when she comes back, so do you. Only this time, your decision is no longer fueled by longing, it's fueled by clarity. Because pain has a strange way of opening your eyes, doesn't it? Back then, maybe you would have taken her back in a heartbeat. Just hearing her say your name would have been enough. But now you've grown into a man who knows his worth. Now you understand that love isn't about chasing. It's about choosing and being chosen in return. So listen closely. If she wants a second chance, she's entering a different relationship than the one she left. This time, the boundaries are stronger, your voice is louder, your standards are higher, and your self-respect is non-negotiable. Because let's be honest, the first time around, maybe you let a few things slide. You ignored the red flags. You gave too much. You stayed too long. You compromised until you were barely recognizable to yourself. But that version of you, the one who begged for love, tolerated disrespect, and called it loyalty, he doesn't live here anymore. You are no longer available for half effort. You are no longer seduced by apologies without action. You are no longer giving unearned access to someone who once chose to leave. So if she's back now, She's not just walking into your heart, she's walking into your kingdom. And not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Ask yourself, does she respect the man you've become? Or does she just miss the boy she could control? Does she recognize your growth? Or is she nostalgic for your old wounds? Is she ready to meet you where you are now, emotionally, spiritually, mentally? Because the truth is you've changed, and you have every right to redefine what love looks like moving forward. This means setting boundaries that protect your peace. This means expressing your needs with clarity and not shrinking to keep her comfortable. This means requiring emotional maturity, not just emotional drama. You are not selfish for expecting more. You are not difficult to have standards. You are a man who has suffered enough to finally realize that love without respect is just manipulation dressed in romance. So no, you don't just pick up where you left off. She doesn't get a free pass just because she came back. This time, she earns her way back into your life through consistency, honesty, vulnerability, and time. And if she can't handle that, if she's not ready to meet you in this new chapter, the chapter where you lead from self-worth, not desperation, then it's okay to walk away. Because this isn't about punishing her. It's about protecting the man you fought to become. Let her show you that she sees you now, sees you. Not just the man she wants when she's lonely, not just the version of you who made her feel safe, but the whole man, the healed man, the man who demands more than breadcrumbs. So redefine the terms. This isn't the same love story. This is your narrative now, and you are the one holding the pen. If she wants a place in your life again, let her earn it. Not with words, but with actions. Not with promises, but with presence. Not with memories, but with mutual growth. Because love is not about repeating the past. It's about rewriting the future with someone who finally understands your value. And the beautiful part, whether she stays or walks away again, you win. Because this time, you chose you. So she came back, now the choice is yours. This is not about whether or not you take her back. It's about whether you finally come back to yourself. Because a man who's healed doesn't make decisions from hurt. He leads from wisdom, from experience, from love rooted in self-respect. Whether she stays or leaves again is not your loss to carry. Your power lies in the fact that you no longer beg. You choose. And in that choice is where your peace lies. Don't chase what walked away. Attract what aligns with the man you've become. Now go out there, not to prove your worth to her, but to live in the truth of who you are now. She may have left you once, but don't ever leave yourself again.